Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is a day with Mike and Kyla. Sans Mike, a little under the weather here. We wish him the best. Boy, that was UGLY. We have absolutely no alibis. Ugly performance. I don't even know if we want to call it a performance because they just flat out didn't show up. I'm Justin. She's Kyla. We'll be right back, and we're going to get this monstrosity of a game broken down. So I don't even know what we're going to say because that was just horrible. But before we get started, this is again a day with Mike and Kyla. We are simulcasted on the Purple Code, who is our presenter tonight, as well as on my channel, Purple and Gold for Days. So if you don't already subscribe to the Purple Code on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, please do so. And throw a subscribe to Purple and Gold for Days as well. As always, anytime we are presented by the Purple Code, we have to give all kinds of love to our sponsors here. And our sponsor right off the bat is Rinaldi's Pizza and Pasta. They are located on Wood Lane Drive, and that's off the intersection of Valley Creek Road and I-494. Need some ideas because you got all your cooking ready for Thursday. You just want something simple tonight. Hit up Rinaldi's. Mention the Purple Code. They will give you a family discount. Also presenting and sponsoring tonight is Nautical Bowls, also located in Woodbury. They're on Hudson Place, and that's off the intersection of Woodbury Drive and I-94. Kyla, there are no words to describe how gutless, pathetic, off the charts bad, and inexcusable this team was yesterday. So I will leave it to you. What do you say to that garbage?
I mean, it's almost like a part of me deep down was not surprised. Like, I did not feel good waking up on Sunday morning. You know why? Because I feel like we've just grown to expect this stuff. Every single time the Vikings have some big win, some emotional win, they always pee their pants the next week. And they have to do it when everyone's watching too, which is the most annoying thing. It's just like, I expect when everyone's watching Minnesota, if they've done something good the following week, they're just going to lay an egg the next week. It felt a lot like the Philly game in Philadelphia and the championship game. Just totally embarrassing. And finally, Viking fans have been like, oh, no one notices us. And then we've got that big win in Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
We come big game against Dallas, game of the week, and just in all facets of the game, that was just a joke. Except for punting, though.
Well, hey, Greg Joseph had 0 misses yesterday.
Oh, he didn't miss a PAT. So there you go. But honestly, I feel like I watched Wright punt more than I saw Kirk being able to make a pass attempt. We could go on for. But I'll say this, as much as that was just a disgrace, a part of me also feels like the Vikings really I feel like they almost needed a game to a team to kind of punch them in the mouth and give them a big fat reality check because we've been saying this all year. They've just squeaked out wins. They won't show up to the fourth quarter. And it's time they realize that if they play a good team, they're not going to get away with this nonsense and they are going to lose. So it's like, hey, you're not invincible.
Well, before I react, let's give some shout-outs. Gaming with Al, thanks for joining us. He has a very good comment. I feel like a defensive rebuild would work this offseason. Yeah, no. There are so many things I'm going to get into this on both sides of the ball because not one of them picked up each other. They both look like garbage. They both said, oh, well, the offense is terrible. Well, I guess we have to be equally as bad and vice versa here. But I don't necessarily disagree. But we'll touch back out then later. Shout out to Dave. Thanks for joining us here. Dave, if you're that bored and you want to tap in about 10, 15 minutes, you certainly can because, it's just the two of us here tonight. But our guy, Mike, he made an appearance like he said he would. Yeah, I think he joined right after I said it. Greg Joseph didn't miss. One bad game, honestly. Yeah, I was going to say that too. But to your point, yeah, it's only one game. It is only one game. And one thing that I said yesterday when I was with Rap and Dave and Jade and company is I am glad that it was this bad. And what I mean by that is I'm glad we didn't just lose a close 3 to 7 point game to give us the illusion that, oh, well, we just, a couple things here and there that we just need to shore up on. No, You got exposed in a way that showed you all of your weaknesses. That is everything that went wrong. Everything that could go wrong went wrong. It showed you that your offensive line, yes, against decent to bad defensive lines can survive. Okay. Against decent to slightly better than decent defensive lines, they're going to have a dogfight. Against bad offensive lines, they're still garbage. It showed you that Danielle Hunter and Zadarius Smith, when they go up against mediocre to bad O lines, they can dominate. Did anybody outside of that one missed sack that Zadarius Smith almost had yesterday, did anybody ever mention any one of those two guys? Because I didn't hear their names called once. I'm not going to get too much into the quarterback because there wasn't much any quarterback could have done there. I mean, on the first possession, on your third play, maybe don't stand back there like the Statue of Liberty. When you know you got Micah Parsons bearing down on you, or at least you should know. Again, Kirk Cousins had a perfect pass to TJ Hawkinson that was dropped. We'll get to him as well. But to SK's point, thank you for reading my mind, SK. It is only one game, but that was completely unacceptable of a performance, whether you're a contender or not. You had 65,000 people. Now, probably not all. We know all of them weren't Vikings fans, but you had people pay hard-earned money to go watch that game. The Minnesota Vikings stole the tickets. They stole money yesterday because they did not do their jobs in any way, shape, or form. They did not do their jobs, and it was disgraceful. I'm sorry. But to my point of, I'm glad it all came out at once as opposed to little tidbits here and there. Granted, you got a short week coming up against Bill Belichick, but the whole when the bye week or mini bye weeks, you do some self-scouting, they've got a lot to scout, a lot to scout. Yeah, I used that one in the opening, SK, but I'll put it up there. Absolutely just pathetic. But let's go through what little game flow there actually was that was meaningful for the Vikings. Okay, first drive, we talked about the fumble. Okay, stuff happens. Now, I've given Kirk credit to say that he hasn't had those debilitating strip sacks this year quite often, but yesterday he did. But the defense bailed you out by holding them to a field goal. Okay, we'll take that. But let's then remember, you had one good drive yesterday. One good sustained drive. One. Maybe they, in hindsight, okay, maybe they should have gone for it. Well, you can't say that after the fact, particularly in such a ridiculous butt kicking. But TJ Hawkinson, we brought this guy in. We wanted him to just be the guy that's going to catch things that are thrown to him that he's supposed to catch because Irv Smith couldn't do it. And he had two passes. One of them, the second one, okay, maybe. But that first one should have been a touchdown. And I'm not saying that changes the game. Anybody who wants to say that if Hawkinson catches that touchdown, it's a completely different game, that's like saying in week one, if Green Bay connects on that deep pass, it would have been 7-7 and, this is a whole different game. Okay, maybe the game plays out differently. But to suggest that the Vikings would have absolutely been in that game and had a chance to win, well, then you better turn around and say that about week one against Green Bay. And since we all know we're not going to do that, the simple fact is it was just a total systems failure. But the rest of the drives for the offense before they finally pulled the starters out, punt. Oh, there's a first down. Holy cow, we actually got one of those. Punt, turnover. Do we have any more turnovers? It doesn't matter. They're all turnovers. The offense was just a complete no-show. Defensively, and then I'm going to get to some more chats, and then I'll let you respond, Kyla. Defensively, I'm not giving them any kind of free pass for how pathetic they were, how out-schemed, outmatched, and out-coached they were by Mike McCarthy, no less. But when you go into the half and the time of possession is 21 minutes to 9, some of the defensive woes still have to go back to the fact that the offense was barely ever giving them a chance to catch their breath. What say to you to that point, Kyla? Because all I heard was how bad the defense was, and yeah, the offense didn't look good, but it's like, well, what do you expect defensively from a team that's a bend but don't break when you barely give them a chance to rest? Of course they're going to break. What do you think of that?
I mean, I agree. Like if you're going to force your defense to spend the entire game on the field, they're going to be bad. But I'll also say that they were super bad when they were on the field. Like, what was it? Like 458, 68 yards of offense we let up. Missing tackles. I feel like we got no pressure on Dak or just
Other than that one play that we talked about where Za'Darius had him and
exactly,
missed him. I mean,
exactly. I mean, I don't know, like you can say, oh, the defense was worse. It's the offense's fault because they didn't give the D any time to rest, but it was everyone shares the blame for yesterday.
yes, absolutely
Like
everybody.
everyone. That was a spectacularly awful effort by the team. And you're right, KOC was so outcoached. I expected, like we showed a bit in the second half against the Philly game.
Yeah,
Defensively, at least, we were able to kind of make adjustments. But there was none of
not
that
yesterday.
yesterday. None of that.
Not yesterday.
No.
Dallas ran the ball 40 times for 151 yards. Our quarterbacks combined passed for 159 yards. And by the way, let's make no mistake. Dallas could have put up 60 if they really wanted to, or if they
For
really needed
sure.
to.
Yeah.
Let's just be clear. So yeah. Oh, well, we only gave up 17 points in the second. Yeah, okay. So you only gave up 3 in the fourth quarter. It was just, yes, it's one of those deals where burn the tape, crumple up the paper, empty the recycling bin, and throw it all away. If you come back next game on Thursday and beat the Patriots, whether you beat them by 3 in a close game the way you always win games, or whether you actually win with a statement game on prime time to be the closer for Thanksgiving, then the sting of this mess will somewhat be alleviated. So I'm going to reserve all of my judgment for what happened yesterday to see what the results of Thursday's game is. Because, okay, if you come back and you beat a Patriots team, and SK had it on here just a moment ago, and I think I'll get that back up here, they lead the league in sacks, or they got the league leader in sacks coming into town here in 3 days. This offensive line needs to get it together because guess what? If you don't have sustainability on your offense to even just have a 4-minute drive, even if it ends in a field goal or even if it ends up in a punt and you pin them back, you've got to find a way to keep that defense off the field as much as possible. And I'm not specifically saying for this coming game because, again, who are we talking about with the Patriots? They don't have much offensively either. They scored 3 points yesterday and won on a ridiculous punt return touchdown with 7 seconds left. I still can't believe that I watched that. But having said all that, let's give some more shouts out here. TJ, thanks for joining us here. Embarrassed and humiliated. Yes, humiliated. That's one that I haven't used here today as well here. And to Mike's point that I was going to make, so I'll just go ahead and make it now. Yes, if we beat New England, because yes, a few weeks ago, if we had said, okay, between Dallas, Buffalo, and New England, if we go turn around 2-1 in that, we would all take that. Yes, absolutely. That doesn't lift the stink off of how absolutely awful this team was yesterday. Dalvin Cook, he had some decent runs, but 11 for 72. But by the time anything could get going, we were punting again. And by that time, we're down 20 points. We're down 27, down 34. At the end of it, for me, I said going into this game that Dallas, you can run on them. We saw what the Packers did the week before.
Exactly.
But by that particular point in time, it was just too little too late. I'm not going to give too much talk to the wide receiving. We already talked about TJ Hawkinson, who actually led the Vikings with 5 catches for 34 yards, the guy who dropped the touchdown. Justin Jefferson was absolutely invisible. And I think that the Cowboys just figured out how to stop Justin Jefferson. It's just get to Kirk Cousins and let the rest.
That's exactly it. No, they game planned they couldn't have asked for a better game against us. They did everything better than us. Everything went their way. They were ready for us. And you know what? Like, it's freaky to know that Bill Belichick watched yesterday's game and he's just eating some popcorn and being like, cool, I know what I need to do.
Yeah.
I'm stressed. Like, to me, the Vikings if they lose and they play a good game, it is what it is. Like, that is a tough defense. But if we get embarrassed again on primetime television, just no way. And like you said, that offense isn't good in New England. So I'm not too worried. But man, watching that offensive line without Christian Darrisaw is like watching the Packers offense this year without Devontae Adams. Like, it's frightening. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm glad Darrisaw, like, he's concussed. He should not play. But it's crazy how they just melt down he's so important out there. And going against that front from New England. I'm so scared for
Yeah,
Thursday.
it's pack a lunchtime, and I'm going to say it like this: when we talk about what this team is capable of doing with this quarterback, with these receivers, with this defense, well, if we can get this offensive line to be solid, if they can be like top 15, if we can have this defense be top 15 to 20, we can run off a lot of games and get to the playoffs. That's all well and good. But you're not going to be facing also rans in the playoffs. You're going to be facing teams like Dallas and like Philly who have shown to you that you may have a lot of these pieces around you, but sometimes it's not about who has the most talent or the best coaching or the best scheme. Sometimes it's just matchups. And
Yeah.
the simple fact of the matter is that if you have an outstanding defensive line, that is just a bad matchup. And just like an elite quarterback like a Mahomes or a Brady and Rodgers in their prime or a Josh Allen can overcome roster deficiencies and can still find ways to survive when you have bad matchups. Bad matchups can kill every other advantage that you might have. Simply put, that defensive line yesterday was non-existent. I know we haven't had Dalvin Tomlinson, but do we all think that Dalvin Tomlinson makes that much of a difference? I don't think so.
I
I would have
mean,
loved to have had him.
ugh, not well for sure. I think when I was watching the game with my usual crew yesterday, we kept saying like, "Oh my gosh, do we ever need Dalvin Tomlinson to come back?" However, you are totally right. I don't know. We need like it was so bad that yesterday that no one would have made a difference. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to say. It was just so ugly and so embarrassing. I'm almost speechless.
It's one of those deals where it is unfortunate that our brother Mike is not here because I know he would be chomping
Right.
at the bit to take some rants here. But what's up, Rap? Thanks for joining us. I very much appreciate it for tapping in here. Feel free to join the stream if you would like. Here, Mike is out here tonight, and we're both just kind of like, okay, what else is there to be said regarding this game? But what I will say is this: let's try to stay positive if there is such a thing
Yeah.
after this. You have an opportunity, and that's the word that we have used on our show: is you have an opportunity. Take advantage of opportunities. Just like this game has a tendency to wipe some of the shine off of the Buffalo win, a win this Thursday can wipe some of the stink off of yesterday's loss. So realistically, I do believe that the Vikings should not only be favored as they are, but it should be expected of them to win this game because, yes, you still have Bill Belichick over there, and he's going up against a rookie head coach. And how many times did we say when it was Mike Zimmer going against a rookie quarterback that we have the advantage? So I'll definitely give New England the advantage from that standpoint. But they're traveling. We're not. We're sitting at home, resting up, guys. We have managed to avoid the injury bug, but for the last couple of weeks, they're starting to pile up here. But realistically, even with this bend don't break defense, I do believe that realistically, this defense should not be giving up any more than 14 to 20 points against the New England Patriots on
No,
Thursday. And that
definitely not.
and that should be like the expectation that you hold them to 20 points or less. Realistically, on offense, I know that Kevin O'Connell wants to be the Rams, 12 personnel and not using the fullbacks or the tight ends. This is the week where you say, you know what? This is how my system is, but this is not working right now. Why you didn't adjust by like middle of the second quarter to say we need to go to some max protections to make sure that Kirk Cousins doesn't get killed, number one,
Exactly.
and number two, doesn't have his confidence rattled. Because to me, one thing that I have given all kinds of credit to Kevin O'Connell this year is how he has managed Kirk Cousins. And I say that in the context of he has thrown some bad interceptions here or there, or some over aggressive interceptions here or there. And Kirk has always not let it linger, so to
Mhm.
speak, and that he's come back on the next drive or two and been just fine.
Well, I
This
mean,
game has a tendency, if Kevin O'Connell does not keep Kirk Cousins in that same mindset of you can't let that game linger. You have to say, we got all of the bad crap out and let's just go back and move forward to the way that we have been. What say you, Kyla? Go ahead.
yeah, I agree with you. And I think that's been one of the biggest, most important things is to, Kirk being different this year than other years is his ability to like get over a bad play. He looks more calm. He's having fun with his teammates. But I mean, he was awful in Philadelphia. And I can't even remember who did we play week 3?
Was that the Saints? No, it was the Lions. So
Okay.
we can't.
I
And we
mean,
had to
I'm
do a
not too
comeback against Alliance. Yeah,
yeah, I mean, I'm not too concerned about it. I think, I think Kevin will have him ready to go on Thursday, but again, and I don't like saying this because I don't believe it, like, I don't even live in the States, but I've seen Kirk Cousins win 2 prime time games. Like, I've seen it happen in
right,
person. So, like, he
right.
can win them. But I guess it's just makes me, just a little nervous knowing like, I'm so glad it's a short week because people are probably just making so much fun of us right now, and, like, it can be
Yeah,
forgotten
yeah,
about soon, but
yeah.
I
Shout
don't
out to
know.
Ron. Thanks for joining us, Ron. Okay, to be clear, and I don't know how much of this you heard. No, Kirk had nothing to do with the defense. What our point was earlier was when your offense is barely on the field and you have a bend but don't break defense, it's more likely that they're going to start breaking when your first drive is a turnover. Your second drive is a decent drive and field goals, but then after that, you had, I think, one or two more first downs the entire rest of the first half and punted the ball, three or four more times. So, again, absolutely nobody here is blaming Kirk Cousins for this game and is not saying that, Kirk Cousins he's at best fourth or fifth on the list as to why this game was garbage. And I'm not going to say he doesn't belong on the list at all, but I'm going to say he barely belongs on that list, if at all. Our point earlier was offensively, when you're going up against a team that can just run the ball down your throat and do whatever the heck it wants, yes, we can talk about and you bring up a very good point here about the O-line was like Swiss cheese. Yes, the defense was like Swiss cheese. The O-line was like Swiss cheese. Everything was like Swiss cheese yesterday. Well, our overarching point was more that at some point on offense, you have to do something to give the defense a chance to catch its breath. That's really what our point was there. And again, that wasn't necessarily directed at Kirk per se.
No.
We're just
I think
talking
it's a
about the whole game.
scheme thing, like, you need
Right,
to it's
right.
not working, figure it out.
Like I said, throw some max to your point, Ron. Throw some max protections in there. Get CJ Ham on the field as a personal protector. I mean, please explain to me how the Green Bay Packers managed to overcome a 14-point fourth quarter deficit against that team where we couldn't move the ball at all. Well, once again, their offensive line is better. They match up better because they're not at a complete and utter disadvantage with that defensive line breathing down the quarterback's neck a half a second after the ball was snapped. But having said all that, I think the key to the game this Thursday, so you know what, let's just wrap it into bed. If there's any other commenters, throw that in there. But if you're in the chat, throw in your score predictions for this Thursday. Give us one or two keys that you think has to be the difference, aside from the fact of, okay, the generic, the O-line has to be better and the defense has to be better. We all know that. I think
Just
the key
play better and all.
yeah, here's an idea. The key to the game on Thursday is show up, okay? Because you didn't do that yesterday. To me, offensively, max protect. And if that means that you don't have as many wide receivers out in the pattern in the offense that Kevin O'Connell wants to run, that's fine. I'm going to say it like this. I never thought I would say this. And I'm not saying go completely Zimmer on the bit, but go Zimmer on the bit. Go back to the maybe, instead of it being a 50-50 or a 60-40 pass split, maybe flip it the other way. Establish Dalvin Cook early and often. Get Kirk Cousins into short passes, get him into rhythm. Throw some smoke screens to JJ or Thielen, anything to just get something going. And I think that was a little bit of a critical mistake yesterday where it's just like, all right, yeah, you're down 13-3, or then you're down 20-3. You can't score 17 points in one drive. You come
No.
together with one decent drive where, like I said, here's an idea. 2 or 3 first downs on a drive. I mean, I know that's basic stuff, but it was just ridiculous about how the defense never could get a chance to recover and make adjustments because they were constantly going right back out on the field. I said it before you did. No adjustments were made. Thanks, Ron. But no, in all seriousness, Ron, you're 100% dead on. Was nothing about that team adjusted anything. Offense didn't adjust. Defense didn't adjust. The punter didn't adjust because he didn't need to because he was constantly punting the whole time. But jokes aside, what would you say your early score prediction is for this game on Thursday? And after we talk about this game Thursday, I want to talk about after the mini bye. Let's talk about the rest of the Viking schedule here, Kyla. But what say you? Let's just get right to what we're going to do on Thursday.
I honestly don't want to say anything positive because of this. I'm so nervous. I feel like I'm going to jinx them.
There are no
But
jinxes.
but you're right. I don't believe in that stuff. I would like to say that I feel this team is going to regroup from yesterday. Like I said at the beginning of the show, I honestly feel like it was good that we got punched in the mouth. We really needed it. Like, we can't just be going around being like, "Oh, yeah, we'll just, like, show up in the 4th quarter at some point and get in the end zone, win the game." Like, it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen on Thursday either. So, I feel like the whole team is so embarrassed. Like, I just got a notification saying Justin Jefferson is embarrassed. Well, duh. So,
All
I'm
Minnesota
sure
is.
they all are, everyone is, all the Viking fans, coaches, players, whatever. So, I definitely think they're gonna be ready to play. My biggest concern is the offensive line, but you're right. I feel like if we know what we have. We know we're not gonna have Darisaw. Like, just prepare, get the run game going early. Don't force Kirk Cousins to make some like ridiculous. Just get him feeling a bit confident early on and take it from there. And
Right.
if we can do something on offense, I'm not worried about Mac Jones. So if we can just sort of get back to what a game plan should be for them, I think we should win. We're at home. Like, I can't imagine them losing 2 stinkers at home 2 weeks in a row.
I'm going to shout out everybody who's got their score predictions in the chat here in just a minute, but do want to, I had this, the flips up there a moment again. Want to thank Renali's Pizza and Pasta in Woodbury, as well as Nautical Bowls in Woodbury. Looking for something simple tonight for the Monday Night Football game, give them a call. Mention the purple code at either one of those locations, and you will get the family discount. I'm just going to say it like this. To your point about getting punched in the mouth, this team has been punched in the mouth a few times, and what we have given them credit for is that they did punch back.
Yes.
Prior to yesterday's game in ways that they never did when Mike Zimmer was the coach of this team.
They just needed another punch in the mouth.
I am going to say this. They got punched in the face yesterday, and they got punched harder than they had before. And I'm not going to say that they didn't punch back. They tried punching back, and they just couldn't hit anything. I've used this one on every channel I've been on. They were the little brother to the big brother that just puts his hand on his little brother's head, and the little brother is just swinging away, and he can't reach him. He can't do anything. We could not do anything yesterday. So maybe this is one of those times where you go home, you talk to your mom and dad and say, big brother did this to me. And dad says, all right, let me show you when your big brother's holding your hand, holding your head with his hand this far, how you can actually do something to him instead of just swinging your arms that are too short. This is the opportunity that they have to say, all right, we're going to go punch somebody else in the face here now. You've got an inexperienced quarterback like you talked about. We talked about Bill Belichick. That's all well and good. But offensively, the Patriots don't have a whole lot. But to another great point that Ron has made here, let's not leave Booth on an island by himself. Now, I realize that we got some guys hurt with Cam Dantzler, Raps guy. Evans is hurt. We all understand that. But in the secondary, we're just leaving guys on islands like we still have Xavier Rhodes and Trey Reigns. And the fact is we don't right now. So, I like this one, Dave. I'm going to put that one up right now. I think as fans, most of us are a little gun shy. Yeah, a little bit. But it doesn't have to turn into let's be gun shy because we got punched in the mouth. But let's call it what it is. Dallas is a good team. They're a very, very good team. They're a mirror image of us in other ways. You know, I think Dak and Kirk are very comparable. I think that we probably have a little bit more star power on the wide receiving core, but they have better offensive and defensive lines. I think both of their lines are definitely offensive line is an upgrade over ours. And I think their defensive line is a slight upgrade over ours as well. But having said all of that, take care of your business. You got a short week and then you got that mini bye. And then you're coming down the home stretch in December, as John Madden would say, it's December football. You know what football teams here, everyone done football or okay. Having said that, let's get to some score predictions, and then we're going to talk about the rest of the season. Ron, you've been so great putting some stuff in the chat, so I'll start with you. He's got the Vikings win 27-23. I don't think it's going to be that high scoring. I think both of these teams are a little bit of offensively challenged. But having said all that, our compatriot Mike said 27-17. So he thinks that, and Kirk eats the turkey leg and then brings back the positivity. Hey, I'll take a win any way we can get it.
I love the positivity, Mike.
at that particular point in time. There was one more in here I thought I saw, but oh yes, 17-14. I think that's going to be closer to what. And forgive me, Delirious Dan. I'm going to butcher the name, so I'm just going to say I'll just go with the middle one. I'll just say Dan here. I'm sorry, I'm just going to mess that one up. But I do think it's going to be that kind of a low scoring game. I think the over under in this game is 43, and I definitely think that that's an under hit unless something magical happens, because like a punt return touchdown or a defensive scoop and score, something like that. I do believe that, but that's 3 for the Vikings here. I'm going to say it like this: my early prediction, which I generally don't like giving out on Mondays, but since it's the only time that we will be on the purple code here. I'm going to say that the Vikings win this game 24-17. I do believe it is going to be another one of those games where the Vikings and the Patriots are going to be in the middle of the fourth quarter, and that Kirk Cousins has one of his signature fourth quarter drives. Is that my hard talking because that's just what I want to see happen? Maybe a little bit. But having said that, I do think that this is the year where Kirk has gotten punched and he hasn't fallen down and folded up like a cheap suit. And there was nothing that could have been done yesterday. So somebody said to me earlier, well, at least in Philly, they at least fought back a little bit in the second half. It was so out of control. We just got back from Buffalo and all the other excuses that they can have out there. I'm going to say that the Vikings get this done on Thursday night. And hopefully we don't eat too much of the turkey here and fall asleep to that. Because like I said, yesterday, I think after the first drive after the half, we were pretty much ready to just shut that one off here. It's funny, a lot of the rest of the nation, it rarely ever happens where the nationally televised game says, you know what, we're going to go to a more competitive game between Pittsburgh and who do they play? Cincinnati, I believe. Yeah, it's just embarrassing. But
it was fair. I have to say, when that game on the big screen at the pub I was at, when it switched, Cam, he's like one of the owners, he's a Vikings fan. We're all like, where'd the game go? And he was like, oh, it must have accidentally got switched. And
yeah, there's no
I was like, don't put it back on. Like, I don't want to see it. Put like any other game on. I was like, I'm done. Like, no more.
It is so unfortunate. It is unfortunate that they only had 3 games on and that there was a lot of the games that had gone off during the first window and that there wasn't 1 or 2 more that could have gotten put to the second window there to have something else to watch. But having said that, let's take a look after the mini bye week. Let's go through the Viking schedule here and let's just go through what you think is going to happen and what your final records will be. We got the Jets at home. Then we go to the Lions, 2 home games against the Colts and Giants. So we've got 3 out of 4 games to start the month of December. Well, technically start the month of December. 3 out of the 4 games at home before we have our 2-game Texas 2-step with Green Bay and Chicago out in the cold. Kyla, we're both predicting a win this week. That will get us to then 9-2. What do you say the final record is going to be? Where do you see wins? Where do you see losses? What's your final prediction going to be?
I think we can. This is not in disrespect to the Jets, because that defense, like, I feel bad for that defense. It's so good. It's such a good defense. They're exciting to watch. If they have any quarterback who's even like 20th in the league, like, it actually shocks me that they have the record they do despite Zach Wilson. He is atrocious. Yeah. I do think we can beat them. I think we can beat Indy. I think we can beat the Giants. The games I'm really worried about are actually the divisional ones. Because those games, as you know, you see every week, divisional games are always so difficult. Anything could happen, except for the Jets winning in New England. But I don't know. I'm more worried about the last few games of the year. I'm worried about Detroit, Chicago, Green Bay, because if there's any way that we're, perhaps close to, if there's things that could be played out with how seeding works, right. Those teams would love to make life difficult for us. And they're all away games for us too, aren't they?
So again, we got the Jets at home.
I meant our divisional games.
So we got the Jets at home, then we go to the Lions. So yes, all 3 of the divisional games for the rest of the season here are on the road because we had them all at home earlier on in the season. So yes, so at home would be Jets, Colts, and Giants, and on the road, Lions, Packers, Bears. I'm going to say it like this. I think the Vikings win this Thursday. I think they squeak out games against the Jets and the Lions. As much as I hate saying this, I think they're going to find a way to lose one more game at US Bank Stadium, either the Colts or the Giants. And I don't think that the Vikings should lose any more home games. I think the Jets would probably be the toughest one. So it kind of sounds like I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth right now. But I do think they're going to beat the Jets and find a way to lose one of those games to the Colts and Giants. And to your point, realistically, we'll have no idea what to expect between the Packers and the Bears. So I'm going to call a split there. So I'm going to have our final record, and I cannot believe I'm saying this, but I see us with 2 more losses on the schedule. So I have them going 13-4 at this point. But I will reserve to say maybe 12-5 if both the Packers and Bears games, don't particularly matter, because we've been good about not getting injured this year, but it is starting to stack up here. And if at that particular point in time the seeding has been locked up, at that point, I just want the Vikings to be healthy. That's the key. there was part of me that wanted Dalvin Tomlinson to play this week if he could yesterday, but there was also part of me that said, you know what? Let's get this guy healthy. We need this defensive line, particularly in the middle, short up, and have him completely healthy for whatever type of playoff run that this team might be going on here. So, having said that, it's time to make that final call. And what final call is that? Well, the Green Bay Packers lost. We know that they're done with the division. They can't catch us. We already know that. I know, Mike, I'm not putting a hex on them, so don't think about it here. But this will be the last opportunity before. Well, are we going to have one? Hold on just a second. Yeah, no, this will be the last time. They're going to play on Sunday. We got the Eagles playing the Packers. Sunday Night Football. Can we bring ourselves to cheer for Green Bay, or has the ship sailed on us catching the Eagles for the 1 seed? What say you? What does your brain really say? What does your heart say? Can we honestly cheer for Green Bay? Put that in the chat too. Anybody's in the chat here still. Are we still wanting Philly to lose? Are we still trying to catch them, or are we just reserved to the fact that we can't cheer for the Green Bay Packers? What say you, Kyla?
I feel like I'm just not going to watch that game. Like, I know my head says I should cheer for Green Bay, but I cannot physically watch Aaron Rodgers and cheer for him to win. Like, I can't do it. But I also hate Philly as well.
Right.
I'm just not going to watch, and just whatever happens is going to happen. I'm going to purposely make plans. But my head says yes, cheer for Green Bay to win. However, I don't want to watch any of it. I don't want to watch.
Mike, you'll have to be more
They beat the
specific.
crap out of each other. I hope
yes, I hope it goes to overtime and both teams are decimated afterwards. Yes, yeah. Stop. Yeah. Yes, Mike. Who are we cheering for? Don't say yeah. Who are you saying we have to be cheering for? My friend. I'll throw that one in there. While Mike is throwing that in, anybody else in the chat that wants to as well, let's get one more read in here to our sponsors here tonight. Rinaldi's Pizza and Pasta on Wood Lane Drive, right off the intersection of Valley Creek Road and I-494. Again, mention them. They will mention the purple code or TPC. They will get you a family discount. Same goes for Nautical Bowls. They're also in Woodbury. They're located on Hudson Place, right off of I-94 and Woodbury Drive. So if you want something lighter, go ahead and hit those guys up here as well. I'll tell you what, we've been to Rinaldi's, and I'm telling you, it's the cheese bread more than anything. I mean, the pizza's good. The wings are great. Cheese bread is the one for me. Having said that, all right, Mike says Green Bay easily is who we cheer for. Mike, I don't know you anymore, man. No, I'm just kidding. But no, Dave agrees as well. Green Bay win. All right. It's hard for me to do such things, but assuming we get this win on Thursday and assuming we can still get a shot at it, I guess we'll have to utter those ugly words. You know, this is another good point here. Philly still have to play Tennessee and Dallas. Yes, that's right. So Philly can still lose enough games without having to lose to Green Bay, Mike. That's my whole point. Jokes
Tennessee is like randomly good. Like, I don't know why they are good, but they're good.
They're a very solid team that is very well coached.
Still
you want to know who loves the Tennessee Titans more than the most diehard Tennessee Titans fan, and that's Mike Zimmer. They are playing Mike Zimmer football. They have a good, not great quarterback that doesn't turn the ball over very often, who makes solid plays here and there. Is he spectacular? No. And they've got Derrick Henry, who let's just call for what it is. He might not be the best overall running back in the NFL, but I think that he's the one that can hurt you the most. They have an incredibly solid defense. They have an incredibly solid, good play in the trenches on both offensive line and defensive line. So, yes, they're kind of a mirror image of us, except that I think their lines are a little bit more solid, where they're not going to get blown out by anybody. They're always going to be in a game, and the team is always going to be hanging around and always have the opportunity. So, yes, Tennessee absolutely could beat Philly. And I'm guessing after what we saw, Dallas could beat Philly too. I mean, Philly looked like garbage yesterday. The Colts had one job. They had one job, which was to beat Philly, and they had them. And as the late, great Denny Green said, let them off the hook. Kyla, any final thoughts here? Let's put this monstrosity yesterday to bed. Let's look forward to Thanksgiving Day here in the States, consuming your turkey ham or whatever other things that we all consume. That's one of those days here in America we just gorge ourselves full of food. But what say you? Final thoughts here this evening.
Final thoughts. It's already done. Yesterday's yesterday. We're still 8-2. Lots to look forward to. Just worry about Thursday, and then worry about the next week, and then worry about the next week. Like, there's nothing that can be done about yesterday. Learn from it. Move on. You have a great opportunity to show everyone that you are for real. And yeah, I'm nervous, but I have faith in this team that they'll pull it together Thursday.
Sorry, I had to throw Davis up there. Most of us would rather smash a finger in their car door. I love it. I love it. Especially in Minnesota when it's 20 below weather, then you couldn't feel it until after it warmed back up here. But jokes aside, I'm gonna say it like this: I know we have to pull for the Packers because it's more important to get the 1 seed, and the Packers can't catch it. I know that, but it's just gives me the heebie-jeebies. Having said all that, thank you everybody for joining us here. If you do not already subscribe, please go to Purple and Gold for Days. That's me. Please subscribe to the Purple Code. That's who's presented us here tonight. They are on Facebook. And on Facebook, the name of the page is the Purple Code Backup Page because the original got hacked and got destroyed, almost as bad as the Vikings got destroyed yesterday, but not quite. Also follow them on Twitter, TikTok as well. Tomorrow, here on the Purple Code, we have a normal lineup here, and of course, the computer freezes on me every time I do such things, and I want to get something here. So tomorrow night, we got Rappin' Dave. We had a heck of a post-game show on Rap's channel last night. So if you don't already subscribe to Purple Pocket Podcast, that's Rap's feed. If you don't already subscribe to Dave's channel, subscribe there as well. His is called Minnesota Sports Talk. So we share the love with all the different content creators when we do our shows here, when we're presented by the Purple Code as well as everybody else here. But they'll be on tomorrow at 9 Eastern time. Wednesday, normal crew. This ought to be interesting with Rick and Joe because I know that Joe's going to be a little conflicted because he's a Patriots fan, but it's his guy, Kirk Cousins. I don't know what he's going to be saying on Wednesday, but it ought to be interesting. I am candidly not sure when Spotlight is going to air with Chad and Casey, with Thursday being Thanksgiving, and I'm not entirely sure what SK's doing, if he's going to be doing a pregame show on Thursday or not. But keep it tuned to the Purple Code. Keep it tuned to Purple and Gold for Days, as well as all of the channels across the Purple Code family. We very much do appreciate you all tapping in here with us tonight. Having said all that, Vikings win. And like I said, 24-17 is my final score prediction here. But that's going to wrap a day with Mike and Kyla here. Thanks again, everybody, for joining us. And as always, on Purple and Gold for Days and the Purple Code, a day with Mike and Kyla, we just want to see the Vikings win just Super Bowl just one time, just once before we die. Thank you kindly, everybody, for joining us. Everybody here have a great and wonderful Thanksgiving Day. If I'm not back on this channel prior to that, spend some time with your loved ones, be thankful, and all of that. Thanks, everybody who joined us in the chat today. Ray, I saw you one more time. Thank you kindly. Skull to you as well, my brother David as well. Rap for joining us. TJ, SK, Boss Man, thanks for tapping in with us here tonight. I know you're just getting off of work, so we appreciate that you came in with us as well. Thanks again kindly, everybody, for joining us. Have a great rest of your evening. Skull Vikes. And we'll see y'all on Thursday.